I'm just like this? Because
I don't care.
I'm too short.
I don't care. Hello, everybody. Oh, sorry. I'm sitting on my stuff. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's me, Natalie, from Creative Makers. Thank you for being here today. Nobody's on yet, but they'll be on soon enough. It happens like this. This is Dr. Christine Fratino. Christina, yeah. She goes, or Tina, as we used to call her when we were kids.
Not anymore.
Oh, no? You don't like Tina?
Not really.
Oh, never mind. Christina. I don't think I ever call you Tina anymore anyway.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, whatever. Hello, whoever is here. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to take a minute today to talk to somebody that never considered herself an artist and is all of a sudden painting and figuring out that maybe something creative is going on.
Possibly.
All right. So I'm going to start how I always start with everybody. Do you consider yourself a creative kid? I mean, you had to grow up in our household. So this was, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that.
No, it was a very 70s household. So everybody had their own place. So we have 5 kids in our family, and Natalie was the creative one and the smart one.
Thank you.
Yeah, Laura was she was creative in her own way, but just very kind of like she was the party planner. She was like the planner. Michael was the musician and also the creative one. Maria always had she knew everything about beauty, so she had like the perfect skin and the perfect everything. And I was the studious one. And I was the one that was just like, okay, you're the math person, you're the science person, this is who you are. And we all kind of were very siloed in our group. And so it was very clear that if you couldn't draw by the age of 3 or 4, that you weren't going to be the creative one. Because I knew when they were like, draw something, it was like a stick figure, and that didn't work.
Wait a minute, at 3 or 4, this is what you were deciding already?
Oh yeah, by 5 I knew that I was not going to be the artistic one. Oh yeah.
And why would you say artistic one? It's not limited. It's not like there can only be one artistic one in the family or something.
Well, I wasn't the artistic one. Yeah, no, I knew. I mean, I couldn't even color in the boxes. I mean,
who can at 3 or 4?
Well, you did.
No, I didn't. Not necessarily. I don't. How do I even remember? I don't remember anything.
Well, my brother was so talented as a kindergartner. He actually had his picture chosen out of hundreds of pictures that kindergartners do, I guess, and it was in the state capitol.
Right.
So,
I forgot all about that. Oh my God.
Definitely was not that.
Oh, that's right. And I have one of my pictures in like the LA Times or the Star News or something. Oh,
there you go. So, in fact, it just was, and I just kind of, I agreed. I was like, yeah, I can't, I could barely do a flower, and it was very one dimensional. And even I remember being in high school, I was in an art class. We went to the same school. We went to Ramona Convent, and there was this art teacher who was kind of crazy and frankly a little bit of, I'm going to cuss, an asshole. And his name was, well, I'm not going to tell you what his name was.
He's dead anyway.
Oh, please. He's dead. Oh, okay. And he loved Natalie. He thought that Natalie oh yes, she would make all this amazing artwork, and boy, she's such an artist and everything. And so, 4 or 5 years later, I come in, he's like, oh, Natalie Fratino's sister. And I think that he was sure that I was going to, I don't know, be just like her. And he was so disappointed in me. In fact, he agreed that maybe he was just going to go ahead and pass me if I promised that I wouldn't make any other art. I mean, I was so bad. I was so bad that he was just like, don't even try. He's like, you're going to pass. Don't worry, but don't even try. I mean, it was bad. It was horrible. I mean, I couldn't get it. I mean, it just a self-portrait. Are you kidding me? I'm 14. I don't know what I look like. So it was bad. So
everything about this is so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so wrong.
Yeah. So at that point, I think I went through high school and college. It was fine. I just figured that I wasn't going to be creative
Oh,
like
and when I
that.
say she's a doctor, I mean like she's a real doctor. Like she's a general practitioner and she works at
Kaiser.
Kaiser
Yeah. So,
and sees patients and the whole deal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make
every day.
pulls babies.
Every day. No, not anymore. No, no more pulling babies. But so I think it didn't happen for me until maybe after college. I It was the 90s and jewelry was really big. It was the whole Friends thing. Everybody was wearing the necklaces that they saw in Friends, and I thought I can make a necklace. I could do this. How hard can it be?
Yeah,
And
string the beads.
yeah, string the beads. And I took a couple classes, and I thought I could do this. I could do it. And I liked it because it allowed me to just kind of focus on something different, and I could do what I saw. I could make these creations, and I felt very good about being able to make the creations. I sold some of the creations and gave them as gifts, and she had a lot.
I still have some,
And
yeah.
and I thought, okay, and that's I think the entry level. That I thought, okay, well maybe I'm not a painter, I'm not a drawer, but I can make jewelry. And then a friend of mine said, well, you should come to the ceramics class that I have. And so in the 90s, I was doing the ceramics class, hand building. And every Saturday morning, I would wake up early and I would do ceramics. And
And those are good.
But I really was not good.
Well, I mean, you were throwing pots.
No, I wasn't even throwing pots yet. I was just hand building, and I just really, I mean, it was rudimentary. I was like a third grader, maybe fourth. But it was just something that I liked to do, and then I learned how to throw pots. But then I just kind of like figured like, oh, okay, it's just because I was bored and I can do this. I guess, yeah. So that's my answer to you about being creative, I guess.
That's a long answer, but
Sorry.
I love that you just went for it. I like it. You asked all the questions I would have asked.
Oh,
You
sorry.
just did. No, don't be sorry. This is great. Okay, so you're a doctor. You're studious. This is the way you see yourself, even though you managed to dabble in these, creative endeavors. What turned the page for you? What made you start wanting to paint?
So I have two kids. I have two kids, and my oldest does not see himself as an artist.
He doesn't.
Although he's a very good self-taught musician. He's
really
amazing.
good.
He's amazing, and he has style. And my second is very artistic. And he had always had an artistic flair, always wanting to draw, always wanting to color. He still, as a 15-year-old, often goes to a restaurant and says, do you have any crayons and anything that I can draw with? So he's still very, very artistic. And so during the pandemic, what does one do when you're in a home with, I guess at that time it was a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, and what can you do? So he always, from his aunt and his uncle, the artistic ones, always got a lot of art supplies for Christmas and for birthdays and whatnot. So
I just want to say that's all I know how to buy.
Yeah, it's all good. We have lots of art supplies. And so one day we were bored, and a lot of times he would say, do you want to go to Michael's? Let's go to Michael's. And we would always go to Michael's and buy things. But during the pandemic, we couldn't go to Michael's. So we were sitting there and we are kind of bored. And I said, why don't we do like Bob Ross or something? Let's do a Bob Ross video and like make something. And he was like, oh, that's a great idea. So we sat side by side and, stop, rewind, stop, back up, stop, back up. And, we made these Bob Ross pictures, and they came out really cool. And I thought, oh, I could do this. And so we did another Bob Ross, and we did another Bob Ross. And then he wasn't home. He was out playing with his friends or doing things with his friends. And I was like, I want to do a Bob Ross video. So I just kind of marched through all these Bob Ross videos until one day during the pandemic, I worked from home a lot of the times and worked at work, but during during the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people were fooled into thinking that doctors were really busy, and we were not, because a lot of people didn't come in because they were scared. And so there was this huge lull. Let me just tell you that now there is no lull and your doctor is very busy. But during that time there was this huge lull. So I would work, and then at like 5:30 I was done. I was really done. I didn't have any emails to answer. I didn't have anything. Nobody was bugging us, or not bugging us, or asking us questions. So I sat down and I said, I'm going to draw a lady. I'm going to draw this picture of this woman in red.
Was this before or after that we had the little tutorial?
We had a tutorial once with Natalie, because we said, well, maybe Natalie can be our Bob Ross. And we did a tutorial with Natalie to draw this woman in red. And Natalie's looked perfect. And Enzo's looked actually quite good.
Yeah,
mine was like a horse face.
They were all good.
But we kind of went through that, and then I thought, well, I could maybe do that.
That was more of a tutorial, though, on how to look at it, how to see it, how to break it down, and actually get something similar on the page.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about making, who wants to paint something exactly?
Well,
mine was not exact.
Well, that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to take this picture, and I had this lady in red kind of face, and it was this woman who was like wearing like a red dress and kind of looking away, and I said, I think I'm gonna paint this. And I was really meticulous, because that's what I know how to be. I know how to be very meticulous with things, and I did it time after time, and I got it. And it looked great. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make another one. And I made another one and a few others. And then I started doing dogs, because we have dogs and we wanted to have some dog pictures. And I was looking on Pinterest, and I said, I can do that picture. I could do this picture. And I just started just kind of belting them out. Just painting this picture and painting that picture and painting this picture. And sometimes I would call you and say, how do I get the color of skin? Because I was using acrylics that, like cheapo acrylics that my sister and my brother would get for Enzo. And, she was like, why don't you buy some real acrylics? And I was like, no, I can figure this out. But how do I blend these colors in? And what I realized was that I don't think that I was still thinking I was creative. I think that I was just finding a time when, at work, everybody wants something from you. It's constantly, they want to pick your mind. They want your approval. They want you to listen to them. They want you to cry with them. There's a lot of want, and they'll just kind of eat you up if you can. And it is always making decisions. Yes, you should take this medicine. No, you should stop doing this. Yes, you should do that. It's very standard of what you have to do. And in art, I didn't have to do any of that.
Well, the decisions are different.
Well, you make a decision. You're like, am I going to put yellow or am I going to put green? Maybe I'll put both. Who cares? And there isn't the consequence. It's not that
right.
Somebody's going to die from this, or somebody's going to remember this and hold it against me, or I might get in trouble for this. It's just like, I can do whatever I want. And there was paintings that didn't go well. And I was like, I'm going to chuck that one or paint it white and do it again. And that's when it was like, okay. And then the cool thing about it is that when on my background, I would hang up all my pictures, because I thought that it would be cool to remind myself that I did these things, so that when I would be on video visits and on meetings, I can see my pictures when I would be on, And then I would remind myself that I'm more than just a doctor.
And people would always comment too, right?
Yeah, some people commented like, "Oh my gosh, do you have little kids? What sweet little pictures you have there." It's like, those are mine.
I did that. Want
Yeah.
to take back your comment? Want to change your mind about how you worded that to me? Oh,
Yeah, no, but so I was like, no, it's mine. I've done it, and then but I've had other people who are just like, I love this, and when you're a doctor, you have to make connections with people because they're going to be sharing pretty deep stuff with you, and to make connections is always going to be the difference between somebody who's going to agree to maybe take a medication versus somebody who is going to think that you don't care or don't want to invest. So having something that they can relate to, like, I love, like, did you have a lady in red period? Or what's up with those animals? I love that giraffe, or I love that dog. And then it was a way to connect. So it's like, oh, she's my doctor, but she's a person. She's an
Right. It makes you
artist.
more
She's this.
human.
Yeah.
You're not just all about, tell me what your problem is. Here's your prescription. See you later. Yeah, you become like their friend, sort of, in a
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah.
much more relatable.
And the funniest thing is that, a lot of people who are doctors, during the pandemic, we as physicians were trying to figure out ways to connect with each other because, here we would get to hang out with each other at least once or twice a week, going to meetings and whatnot. And now we don't see each other at all. So we would have all these connecting meetings like, hey, come, hang out with us for a painting night, hang out with us for a baking morning or whatever. And so a lot of times, every 2 or 3 months, we would have these award ceremonies like, what have you done with the pandemic? And so I've won a couple of awards because they're like, we saw your artwork, and other people are like, look at my photography, look at these creations that I made. So a lot of us kind of tended to be a little bit more creative during this time too.
I think the pandemic was such an interesting time for people because I think it gave everybody some permission to take some time to do something that maybe they thought wasn't worth pursuing before, or they didn't have time to pursue it. It just like something that nobody was watching them do per se.
Yeah, and I think it was just a time to just slow down. And what would I do before? I would go shopping. I would hang out with friends. I would go to, go out for coffee, or, we would go on trips, and take this kid to swimming practice, take that kid to acting school or whatever. And we didn't have any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? There was no going out of the house. So it's like, how do I do this? And I really think it was really because of Enzo, because, he was creative, and I could tell he was at that point where he could have just kind of taken it and like, I don't care, or he could have taken it and kind of ran with it. And I felt like if he sees like a parent who is taking this seriously, then
we have dog visitors.
Yeah.
If
If he sees a person kind of take this seriously, then maybe he'll take it a little bit more seriously. So I did it for myself. I think now it's totally for myself, but during that time it was a little bit so that he had somebody who, who can talk to him about brushes and talk to him about acrylics and all those different things. But I still dabble now in a lot of things. So now I do a lot more ceramics because I figured, I don't know.
Are you back to ceramics?
I go in and out. So now I'm doing lots of ceramics, but it's different than when I did ceramics before, when I just felt like it was the imposter complex. You get that a lot as a doctor. You feel like an imposter, like, oh, you should ask a real doctor, or you should ask an artist or whatever. And I always felt like I was being this imposter when I was in ceramics.
When you were answering the questions as an artist? where
Yeah.
people were asking you stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't feel that way anymore?
I don't feel as much of an imposter. I feel like I can go and I work on my breathing. I work on meditating, like when I'm centering and just really kind of being in the moment and then just letting things kind of create as they come. And then if they fail, there's sometimes when you're like, working and it's just not coming and you can't center and you can't work it. And now, and before that would just derail me for months. And now it's like, oh, it's just a bad time right now. Maybe I should just take this off the wheel. Let me grab some of my old stuff. Let me just trim. Let me just do some glazing. Let me go do something else. And I can kind of dabble in and out. And I'm not as hard on myself when it's not coming. It's just like, oh, it'll come. It's just not coming today. That's fine. Well, try something else.
This is all really interesting. It's funny. I mean, even when you walked in and I said we're going to do this artist interview, and you even said to me, "Well, I don't think I really consider myself an artist."
Well, I mean, I think of an artist as somebody who, if you can see,
This
like,
isn't my work behind me, by the way.
it looks like your work.
It's not my work.
But there's lots of her work around here. And, I have a skewed vision
But what is
of
the
what
thing?
an artist is, because I think of somebody who makes money off of it.
But why would that be the only definition of being artist? There's lots of artists that make stuff and don't make any money. Either because they don't want to, they don't know how to, they don't try to, maybe they haven't found the right person that likes their work, and sometimes people just make art because it's just they have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that I'm there. I'm like, I don't feel like I don't need to make money from it or anything, but I feel like there's a piece of me that has to do it.
Yeah.
It's part of my, now it's time for me to just be like, I, I just need to create. I need to see something that I've created.
Yeah, make it tangible.
Yeah.
But so you're an artist.
Okay.
How about thank you?
Thank you.
All right. So now that you're an artist, all right, and you're working on ceramics right now. So this is your next. Is this a class?
I did a class just to kind of reacquaint myself since it had been 25 years since I did it. I had a couple of kids and a career. But now I just go I just make my own thing. I don't want.
So did you buy studio time or something?
Yeah, kind of. It's like a class at studio time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I go at least once a week, but then I like to carve or engrave. I don't even know what it is. I just
like bas relief or something like sculptural onto the.
Yeah, I just design things on my leather hard creations. So I like mandalas. I love making mandalas. So I make mandalas, or I do, Indian kind of designs and stuff on my vases, on my cups, on my plates, and so I'll have 20 minutes in between a patient, or I'm just overwhelmed. I'll grab some of my leather hard stuff and I'll just start, designing whatever I want on that plate or
Wait a
whatever.
minute. You're at the studio and you're still seeing patients?
No, I bring that stuff. I like throw, and then I leave it there to dry a little bit.
Oh, and then you bring it
And then
home?
I have some stuff that's like leather hard. I bring it home and I
okay.
just kind of carve on it.
Like between patients, like if
So
you're
it's
at
still
home
green.
taking calls.
Yeah, so it's greenware, and it hasn't been bisqued yet.
Yeah.
And so I still just kind of carve on it, maybe trim it a little bit, and then I take it for bisque, and then you would glaze.
Are you seeing your painting knowledge now translating over to your ceramic knowledge? I mean, have you thought about like actually painting when it comes time to glaze in any sort of way?
Yes and no. I kind of want to keep it separated. I think that there's so much beauty in the ceramics one takes, and sometimes the more simpler of the case is going to be better. And the fact that I like to engrave on it, it can't go into painting. It gets too much, right? It gets too complicated. So I like the fact that the painting part or the glazing part is simple, right? So I might like wipe off the glaze so that the glaze only goes into the engraved part and then glaze the outside a different color and do some kind of magic there. But when it comes to actually painting on there, I'll keep my painting. I'll do that with my painting. I won't do that with my ceramics.
But even in your engraving work, there has to be some sort of crossover, I would think. I mean, because to paint is to know how to draw in a way, you know, because you're drawing with your paintbrush. And I mean, to engrave is like holding a pencil or a pen or a paintbrush. I don't know. I see the relationship. I don't know if you do.
I'm thinking of the colors.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I don't.
I can't wait to see this stuff. I haven't seen this stuff. I don't think you've been showing anybody. You know, now that you're a member of the group, you could post what you're doing.
I do show my friends at work. I've shown them, like, look at what I made. This is what I did last weekend or whatever.
This is all exciting and cool stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. I like having it, but then there comes a point, and this is the problem that I have, is that there comes a point where you have so much of it that you're like, what the hell do I do with this stuff now? This
is the part where, here we have a little message. Dave says, hi Dave, by the way. Art relaxes me, and while I'm at it, it gets me away from the crazy world, far from the maddening crowd. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter where you work. Sometimes you just need a moment.
Yeah. But what was I saying?
About what do you do with all the art?
What do you do with all the art? Well, this is where selling it or presents or
lots of presents.
That sort of thing gets in, because it gets overwhelming after a while, especially if you're fairly prolific and you've got a lot of stuff. I mean, and maybe at that point, maybe you'll want to think about having some sort of little sale or something.
Yeah.
I know lots of people that make their work and then take really good pictures of it and then do a book, like one of those internet books, send all the pictures in and then they bind them and stuff, and then either destroy the work or give it away to friends and then just keep a record of the work in those books.
Oh.
It's a lot easier to handle.
Smart.
But I don't know. I really like having the physicalness of work, people's work in my home. And
yeah. I try to hang up a lot because I want to appreciate what I've done, whereas I don't want to hide it. I know that there's some artists who may feel like, okay, did that, now it's in a closet or whatnot. I try to put up or showcase what I've done so that I can remind myself. Like, how did I feel when I was doing that? Oh, that's right. Trying to find that inner peace again.
How do you think that this is all like changed you? Like, I don't know, do you feel like you're different in some ways?
I feel like I'm just not as regimented.
Is that a good thing for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of like just having kind of an additional safe haven. It's like, ooh, when things are really rough, I can go there. I can delve into that. I can lose myself.
It's the same way people use meditation. That's their safe haven. That's the way they go away, that they can do something else and sort of disconnect from the thing that's bugging them.
I try really hard to meditate while I'm doing my artwork.
Oh, that's interesting.
I try, especially with ceramics. I really concentrate on my breath and really just focus on the breath. And sometimes I even close my eyes while I'm doing my ceramics so I can just kind of just be in the moment.
I think we all as artists probably do that, but maybe not so consciously. That would be a really good thing to be more conscious of. This is a really good question for people that are watching this. I would love to know if you do this consciously, if you consciously meditate while you're working, or know that you're connecting to something different or higher or better. That would be great to know
Yeah.
about.
I find that I can reach a little bit further when I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm in my head, it's not going to happen.
There was a quote that I just posted from Marc Chagall very very recently that said something, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't remember exactly how it said it, but it said basically, when I work from my heart, everything just lines up. When I work from my head, not so much. And I think that's probably very true for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. And that's why it's so nice that when you have that creation, you can kind of tap into it, even when you're looking at it a month later, 10 years later, or whatever. You kind of tap into what was going on during that time.
Mm-hmm. You know, you referred to yourself as a problem solver before, but I mean, I think to be an artist is to be a problem solver. I mean, I talk about that a lot, and I guess you never connected that. You're looking at me like,
well, there is the problem solving, like in your head, like, should I go with blue or black? Uh-oh, I just messed up. How do I fix that? Do I fix it? Is it worth being fixed? I always think of myself as a problem solver when it comes to, I don't know, medications and
you're thinking
things
about
like
it
that.
in the more serious sense, I guess. But I mean, to solve a problem of how do I make this look like the light's coming from the left side? Or how do I make those eyes glisten? Or, how do I make that background fade into the background and not look like my person's here and my background's right there too? I mean, these are all problem solving events.
I don't think that I'm there.
I think you are.
I think I just try to copy whatever I see and just kind of look at the colors to kind of guide me.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then as you're doing it, figuring it out. I mean, because you can go, yeah, that background's yellow, but it's not the same yellow as what's in the foreground.
Yeah.
The color fades, it's grayer, it's whatever, so it recedes. All of that. So tell me about an art that you'd really like to learn, maybe that you're thinking about exploring in the future.
I don't know because if you were to tell me 5 years ago that I would seriously be doing lots of painting, I would have said, you're crazy. You got it all wrong. Yeah. Ceramics, I probably would have thought was more in line with what I wanted to do. But the fact that I became a painter or have been painting kind of is really still quite shocking to me. It's still quite. I think it's quite shocking. Weren't you quite shocked when I gave you a?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. I painted a picture of Roscoe, her dog.
I have it
for her,
and I'm gonna go get it. You keep talking. Keep talking. Tell everybody.
No, but so I think that the answer is that I just don't. I still kind of like where I'm at right now. Oh, Roscoe.
I'm back. So this is the little painting she did of my dog Roscoe. I'm gonna bring it up a little forward. It's very sweet. But the part that I really love the best is the back, because the back has this thing where I can stand it up, but she didn't paint it. So if I stand it up, it's always going to be on its side.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
She didn't pay attention to that at all. It's okay. I just lean it up against something.
But that's so funny. I never even thought about that. That was just, I guess that was a picture that I found on.
I think you took of him. You took this of him.
No, you took the picture, and then I just got it from Facebook.
Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Stealing. But so, no, I think right now I just like to just kind of stick with the mediums that I'm still kind of discovering.
Well, let me put some bugs in your ear. How about exploring, because you're so meticulous and you are a detail oriented sort of person, how about exploring abstract? And the reason why I say this to you is because your paintings are lovely, but I know that you struggle to make sure that you get every detail, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it would be nice to have you work on the opposite side of that as a way to let go further.
That is like so extreme. I can't imagine.
Oh my god, I can almost see you. You're completely uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. I was like, ooh, what would it wouldn't look like anything. Yeah, no. There's
But that,
definitely a goal here. It
I
needs
mean,
to look like what I'm doing.
I know, but what if it didn't? I mean, what if it was just about, I love this color and this color, I am feeling this color right now, and I need to put this down somewhere, and I want to see how this color interacts with this color, and what happens if I scratch into it. And I mean, just, one thing leads to another. I mean, what if you played with that?
I do. Sometimes I follow what you say. Remember that time when she said scribble and then color, and I did that, but I was very meticulous about it.
Right. I had a little exercise on my art channel where I was just adamant about people getting outside of their heads, and I just scribbled, and I have them pick 4 colors and just fill in the scribbles, the doodle with color, just to make some sort of abstract work. And yeah, you did do that. I was so surprised. I was surprised anybody did it, and
It was
actually
fun.
showed me. Yeah, lots
I
of
did
people
lots. I did it a ton of times.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
did it
see?
like when it was very small. I did it when it was really large and loopy. But
I think that's a great way to start though too. Because I mean that's definitely working outside of the box. And that's a really interesting one too because it's abstract because there's nothing there, but you still have the lines to follow.
yeah,
But you can work outside of the lines if you want to.
yeah. No, I didn't. I am very by the lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because I was looking because a lot of people posted like, "Oh, this is what I did. This is what I did," and I thought like, I really followed the rules. I'm a good rule follower, obviously, and when I looked at some of the other things, I was like, they didn't follow the rules.
I know. Right. I thought the same thing because I'm a good rule follower too. But I know. But then I was like, wow, well, of course. Of course they did something on their own. This is what it was all about.
Well, that's what I was realizing. I was like, ooh, you didn't have to follow the rules. But then I was
Right.
like,
And then you're like, oh, why did I follow the rules?
no, it's like, but what rule did I? What, yeah, it gets to. It's a little bit more of a. It's just too much. Mind might explode then.
I do think that maybe should be something that you think about. Don't get uncomfortable on me.
Oh, sure.
All right, keep it in mind.
I have canvases. I have paint. I have brushes.
And remember, you said it yourself. If you don't like it, you just paint it white and go start again.
Yeah.
Or you could just paint over it without painting white and see what happens.
Oh yeah, you do that a lot.
I do that. That's the whole basis of my work.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said before, I didn't even think I was going to be here 5 years ago. So.
I know. When I asked her to do this interview, she was I completely surprised you. And you tried to pawn off your kid on me.
Yeah.
Not that I would have minded that, but that wasn't what I was after. I was after the big fish.
I don't like being like I like doing what I like to do, and I don't mind people saying, "Hey, I like that picture. That's kind of cool." I'm totally for it, but I'm not that person like, "Hey, look at me! Look at me! This is what I'm doing." I think that's what it is.
Okay, here's a weird one. We've already sort of we looked at this, but maybe not. Okay, so this is a way to help you open up so that you're not so meticulous. Have you seen this crossover into being a doctor? Are you looser in some ways? And I don't mean like freewheeling with the drugs. You know what I mean? I mean in dealing with patients. I mean, is it helpful? Are you?
Yeah,
It is
definitely, 100%.
Tell me how. Tell me how that works.
100%. Well, just being a doctor, it's like the art of medicine.
Right.
It's the art of medicine, and it's very much the art of medicine. The way one person practices isn't the same way another person practices, and you have to kind of have your own style.
Right.
So I've had my style, and then from that style, I think it encouraged me to kind of leap out and start painting and go into ceramics and all that stuff. And then with that, just creativity that I've created, it allows me to to solidify more my style. So whereas some doctors are like, it's funny, I guess I hear that some doctors are like, yes, you can do this and it will help you. No, don't stop that medication. It will not help you. Whereas I am very like, hey, let's try that. Let's see if it works. Let's see if, you're determined not to take this medication. Stop taking the medication. See how it feels. Let's try something else. Have you tried this herbal remedy? Have you tried yoga? Let's talk about meditation. What about your diet? Let's check out about this. And just being like more open to other things that I hear. And so a lot of times now I have a lot of the patients who are, so I heard that you're more holistic. So I want, what do you think about this ashwagandha, drop? Or what do you think if I use maca or whatever? And I'm more open to it. And I don't know a lot about it, and I learn about it, but I think that being a little bit more creative allows me to appreciate that there's more creativity in treating people as well.
I think that's a really good thing. That's a really nice crossover.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. I know that a lot of my colleagues who are, they cover for me. We cover for each other. They're just like, what? Did you just tell somebody to take French's mustard when they have a cramp in their leg? I'm like, oh my gosh, it works. It works. All they have to do is a spoonful of mustard, and they're like, all right. They're just like, what? Like, oh, totally works. You should try it. So
that's a whole nother story about other doctors, but we're not going to go there.
No, but I just it's not a yes or no.
Yeah.
It's a yes,
it's gray. It's gray. Like very gray. Everything is for the most part. Other than when you walk into a store and they say it's $1 and you give them $1, that's black and white.
But what was it worth? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add or share with everybody? You have any parting words?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I have one more question.
Oh,
we're doing a portrait challenge.
A
self-portrait challenge. Please.
I'm thinking of that portrait that I made in Mr. Polito's class, and he was just like, no.
That was 40 years ago.
No. Yeah, that might have been about 40 years ago.
35 years ago.
Maybe
like
38, 39 years ago.
Anyway.
Self-portrait.
Okay, I'm going to talk about this with you off camera. All right. I'm going to convince you. All right. And so last parting words? Sorry.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here. Yeah. She doesn't live here. She lives up north in California, and so I don't get to see her all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I was telling Natalie how I was looking through a lot of the postings and everything. And after she had asked me if I would speak, and then I started getting a little intimidated because I was like, oh, geez, these are real artists. They're not going to want to listen to what I have to say. But yeah. Impressive work that I saw.
There's some incredible stuff on that people are posting.
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
It's inspirational.
It is. It's nice to be able to go somewhere, like have a goal.
Yeah. All right. Well then, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for participating and being here, you guys. Hi, Karen. Thanks for watching. Um, I don't have anything else exciting to add except I've got some cool people coming up, and you'll see them when I get them posted, whenever that'll be. Thank you for being here, and keep making art. Participate in the self-portrait challenge. Let me know. I'm making a list so that I can make sure to follow up with people. Okay, thanks, guys.